Capcom is killing it. They've actually been killing it since I started paying attention to the video games industry in 2017. So, for as long as I've known them, they've been killing it. That's what scares me though. What goes up must come down, right? I think Capcom already knows that. You can almost see it in the release cadence. I see it as a sort of trust fall. We trust Capcom during a relative down year, and then they spring us back up without us ever hitting the ground. In 2022, Capcom holds us down with DLC expansions of 2021's strong year of mainline Resident Evil and Monster Hunter releases. Then, springing us back up in 2023 with Street Fighter VI and Resident Evil 4 Remake, before gently letting us down in 2024 with collections, remasters, and Dragon's Dogma 2 to hold us over. And I think we all know Capcom is jolting us awake at the top of 2025 with the release of the highly anticipated Monster Hunter World follow-up, Monster Hunter Wilds. Can you feel the steady hand of Capcom? They know they can't deliver multiple premier quality titles year after year. They know that ensuring the highest quality of their games means we get less of them, relatively. They know they have a treasure trove of back catalog games to put in a collection, remaster, remake, or develop a new entry. They know they have the talent to develop new IP and make today what might be cult classics tomorrow. They know what so many other game companies seem to not: deliver exactly what their fans want, at the highest quality, consistently. Capcom isn't some unreplicable anomaly like, say, Larian, an independent company who gave all the time, space, and money to Baldur's Gate 3. Capcom is a publicly traded company reporting to shareholders quarterly. We don't feel that though. We don't hear complaints of Capcom bending to the will of shareholders. Even when they put the ever so dreaded microtransactions in their single-player games, you hear uproar upon release, but soon after that, it feels like Capcom is seen as a shining example of doing it right. Capcom also isn't immune to tumultuous development cycles. Pragmata was announced in 2020, delayed once, and then delayed indefinitely. All of this to say, they are facing the same problems everyone else is facing: development costs, getting people to care about their game, and even an obligation to try live service initiatives. I mean, how many multiplayer Resident Evils have there been? Give it up, Capcom, it ain't working. They are facing the same problems, but handling them so very differently. Exoprimal failing doesn't feel like Concord failing because we don't know about 11 other live service games Capcom has in development. We assume Capcom are putting the majority of their resources into what they do best and allocating a comparatively responsible amount towards games outside of their wheelhouse, like Exoprimal. Neither Sony nor Capcom is wrong to invest in live service games, but the strategy is the difference maker. Before you click off, if you're enjoying the video, please like, subscribe, and comment how you feel about Capcom below. Okay, back to the video. It might seem like splitting hairs, but Monster Hunter isn't a live service franchise, or at least it doesn't feel like one. A more short-sighted company might look at a game like Monster Hunter Wilds and salivate at the idea of fully tuning it to be a live service machine. While Wilds may have, dear God, live service elements, I don't expect it to be a large departure from what Monster Hunter fans have come to expect. Cosmetics will still largely be free, as will its regular updates to the game, and I imagine Capcom will continue with their strategy of releasing large, meaningful, paid expansions that satisfy fully. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's your best-selling game of all time, do exactly the same thing and don't fuck it up. Monster Hunter World has sold 28 million units, and Monster Hunter Rise is their second best-selling game with almost 17 million units. So yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds has some pretty large expectations. Almost too large. Capcom in its recently released Q3 fiscal year 2024 financial results presentation, has put those large expectations to a discrete number: 11,089,000 units to be exact. Well, not exactly. They said they need to sell 13 million new title units by the end of March. New title meaning games released in that Q3 fiscal year 2024, meaning really any game released after April 1st, 2024. Games like Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. This trio of returning classics have amounted to 1,911,000 units sold. So let's recap. 13 million is the goal, Capcom has gotten, let's say, 2 million. In the next 2 months, they're expecting to sell 11 million. Considering Wilds doesn't release until the end of February, and that trio of classics will almost certainly not sell, let's say, more than 1 million, and that's generous, that gives Monster Hunter Wilds the tall task of selling 10 million units in a month. A tall task that I suspect may not be climbed. It's not unheard of, but I don't know if Wilds exactly meets the usual characteristics of a 10 million seller. 10 million sellers that I can think of: Tears of the Kingdom, Scarlet and Violet, Hogwarts Legacy, Black Myth Wukong. Tears was in 3 days, Scarlet and Violet was in 3 days, Black Myth in 4, Hogwarts in 2 weeks. Black Myth had China, Hogwarts has Harry Potter, and Zelda and Pokemon have what I think Capcom would need to hit that 10 million, the Nintendo Switch. Monster Hunter may have roots in PlayStation, but for a decade and a half, the franchise grew on Nintendo hardware. It wasn't until Monster Hunter World that the series returned to PlayStation and left Nintendo. When Monster Hunter Rise launched on Switch in March 2021, it sold 4 million units in 3 days. Rise didn't reach 10 million until July the next year, thanks in part to its PC release. Monster Hunter World sold 5 million in 3 days when it launched on just PlayStation and Xbox in January. It reached 10 million later that same year in August, thanks to its release on PC. A growing sentiment in the games industry is the desire and, frankly, the need to be everywhere. Square Enix won't stop telling us they are going multi-platform. Sony's putting their games on PC faster than ever, with Spider-Man 2 coming just 18 months after release, and Xbox is going the way of Sega. This is the first Monster Hunter to be released on console and PC simultaneously. That's why Capcom has such high expectations for Wild's sales. I still can't help but feel that it's just a touch too high. If Switch 2 were already here and Wilds was announced for it, there'd be no question they're hitting that 10 million. A lot of games are coming out in February, and while of course Monster Hunter is by far the largest release, I still think every unit will matter to get to that 11 million, and people will be distracted. That, and a rightly earned but still inaccessible price tag of $70, I think my trepidation is warranted. Of course, this is all a conversation not of quality of the game, but about commercial success, and not even about if it'll be profitable. This is the conversation of just how profitable Monster Hunter Wilds will be. Stepping back, it's a ridiculous conversation. God forbid Monster Hunter Wilds sells 8 million units in a month. Capcom stock will drop a bit. We'll get a headline of how Monster Hunter Wilds did not meet expectations, and Square Enix won't look so crazy. This is the reality of these publicly traded companies. They set expectations for their shareholders, and then they gotta meet them. Maybe I haven't been paying close enough attention, but I don't remember Capcom having these high expectations for any of their previous games. These expectations come from seeing just how well World and Rise have sold. I mean, they are their best-selling games. You're naturally going to have best-selling expectations. I'm worried though. Worried that as Capcom succeeds and their ambition grows, they might fall short of those ever-rising expectations. Worried that they too will fall to the capitalistic need of infinite growth. What goes up must come down. I'll be here till the wheels fall off. Capcom, take me for a ride.